Anybody read John Giorno yet? I'm going to read Vajra Kisses. Vajra is a thunderbolt of Indra as an artifact. I think it looks kind of like this, maybe. When starting on a journey, when starting on a journey, they did not tell their party where they were going, or how long it would take, or how long it would take. He looked at himself. He looked at himself in the mirror above the sink, in the mirror above the sink, and grinned. Particular deities surviving on the energy, surviving on the energy of a given situation. The meeting of the two minds. The meeting of the two minds is the awareness of the space they are sharing together. Of the space they are sharing together. The double cut vinyl umbrella. The double cut vinyl umbrella is solid color on top, is solid color on top. Your choice of aqua, citron, or fern. Of aqua, citron, or fern, exteriors, and floral interiors. The flowing pattern of all one's past lives. And the early part of one's present life, right up to today, right up to today. They grinned broadly. They grinned broadly at each other. Three times. Green horses. Green horses came out of the top of his head. Came out of the top of his head. Green horses came out of the top of his head, and everyone in the world, heard their neighing, and everyone in the world heard their neighing. They pulled each other. They pulled each other closer. They pulled each other closer. When you look in this mirror, when you look in this mirror, it shoots flames at you. When you look in this mirror, it shoots flames at you. It shoots flames at you. Thunderbolts at you. Thunderbolts at you. It shoots Amrita. It shoots Amrita at you. It shoots Amrita at you. Then they squirmed closer. Then they squirmed closer. is merely the opening, is merely up, the opening, is merely the opening up of both, is merely the opening up sides of both sides, sides, is merely the opening up of both sides, is merely the opening up, opening of both sides, opening. Get there, tremendous, the whole energies thing, get there, tremendous energies, opening the whole thing from exploding, opening the whole thing, stars, from exploding stars, known as, from exploding stars, supernovas, known as supernovas, or collapsing, known as supernovas, stars, or collapsing stars, known as, or collapsing stars, pulsars, known as pulsars, known as pulsars. They sucked each other's tongues. They sucked each other's tongues. They sucked each other's tongues, and swapped. They sucked each other's tongues, spit, and swapped spit, and swapped spit, and swapped spit, and swapped spit. He was breathing hard. He was breathing hard. He was breathing hard, and I felt his heart, and I felt his heart, and I felt his heart pounding, and I felt his heart pounding, and I felt his heart pounding, as he leaned against me, as he leaned against me, was able to ride the sun's rays, was able to ride the sun's rays, wherever he wished, wherever he wished. Something just opens. Something just opens. Something just opens. And there is a kind of a flash. And there is a kind of a flash. And there is a kind of a flash. And that's all. There is nothing there. There is nothing there. There is nothing there. Energy can only happen. Energy can only happen in the absence of energy. In the absence of energy. Otherwise there would be just one big explosion. Just one big explosion. The sword in his right hand, the sword in his right hand, and the skull bowl of blood, and the skull bowl of blood in his left, the sword in his right hand, and the skull bowl of blood in his left. Whatever happens. Whatever happens, that's part of the trip. That's part of the trip. If you do it, If you do it, you get it. You get it. If you do it, you get it. He is seated on a human skin. He is seated on a human skin. With hands and skull still attached. With hands and skull still attached. With hands and skull still attached. We moved in rhythm. We moved in rhythm. Hips slamming against hips. Hips slamming against hips. Hips slamming against hips. hips slamming against hips as I worked my body, as I worked my body, as I worked my body in upward, and downward, as I worked my body, in upward and downward movements, in upward and downward movements. Was sometimes able to turn his body, was sometimes able to turn his body into a golden vajra, into a golden vajra. It is not a question. It is not a question. It is not a question of going into another world, of going into another world. This is another world. This is another world. And fell asleep, and fell asleep in each other's arms, and fell asleep in each other's arms, Access to roads, small access roads curved that connect bridges to the east-west, two small curved bridges, highway span that connect the access to the east-west highway roads, and to the bridge span the access roads, and to the bridge. The air around you, the air around you is liquid, and you can feel the liquid, and you can feel the liquid being pulled into your lungs, being pulled into your lungs as you inhale. One opens oneself completely. One opens oneself completely. In such a way that, although it may only be for a few seconds, although it may only be for a few seconds, it somehow means a great deal. It somehow means a great deal. Then slowly release it. Then slowly release it. By exhaling. Power steering. Power steering. Four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive. An adjustable seat. An adjustable seat. A padded instrument panel. A padded instrument panel. As well as a tinted windshield. As well as a tinted windshield. A stereo tape deck. A stereo tape deck. An AM/FM radio. An AM/FM radio.